come down here to OSU. Party.
That is a culture shock.
We're at the second.
Alright.
I'm from north of Rapid City, about 50 miles.
We miss me that day.
Where's Cole?
Very good.
I'd like to go ahead and call the Chickasha Industrial Authority meeting. The roll call, please.
McCarty?
Here.
Elliott?
Here.
Gibb?
Here.
Smith?
Here.
Loggett?
Here.
Ebblequite? Here. Grayson?
Here. Item 2, consent items.
Make a motion that we accept as presented.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Elliott?
Yes.
Gibb?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Loggett?
Yes.
Ebblequite?
Yes.
McCarty?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Item 3, discussion, consideration, of possible action in entering a contract for services with the Chickasha Chamber of Commerce and the Chickasha Festival of Light in an amount not to exceed $30,000 and execute the chairman, or authorize the chairman to execute the same.
Execute the chairman.
Sometimes.
Be careful, words
Yeah.
mean something.
Or say 40 and slip, I'm talking about myself.
I make a motion that we approve the action of the, excuse me, to execute the chairman. Oh, Lordy. To enter the contract for services for the Chickasha Chamber of Commerce and Chickasha Festival Light of the amount not to exceed $30,000 and authorize the chairman to execute the same.
Second.
Discussion.
I have a question in section 3, under consideration to be paid 3.1, it actually says one lump sum payment of $33,000. Everywhere else in the document it says $30,000. So is that
I
something
think those are-
different, or is that a typo?
That is a
Is
typo.
that a typo?
Yes, it should be 30,000. We will get that corrected.
We're only, but the motion was only authorized for 30,000.
Correct.
Yes. So do we need to make an amendment with the correction of the contract? Not as presented?
Well, the motion that I made was to not exceed $30,000, so that should be
That will cover the sufficiency.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Gibb?
Yes.
Smith?
Mr. Chairman, I'm a member of the Festival of Light Board. I think I need to abstain.
Okay. So do you both wish to abstain?
I wish to abstain.
Loggins?
Yes.
Ebblequite?
yes.
McCarty?
Yes.
Elliott?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Thank you, Kimmy, for bringing that to attention, and thank you, too, for saying. Item 4, presentation, Chickasha EDC 25-26 work plan by Mr. Jim Calvin.
So the good news is, I have record that you all were at the EDC meeting last month when I presented this plan. The idea is that you all have input on the plan. I believe it was earlier maybe back in March, that I was at the CIA meeting and asked for input from CIA board members. We certainly are interested in anything that you all have questions about. If there's anything the EDC is doing that you'd like us to not do, or you'd like us, something new that you'd like to see us do in terms of economic development, the goal is that the EDC performs the service contract of economic development for the CIA and fulfills the contract. The work plan basically highlights what are we going to do and how we're going to get there. We try to bring as much information to the EDC meetings that you all voluntarily come to before this meeting. So I feel like we've got a good, strong link of communication, but this is also an opportunity as a board member of the CIA for you all to ask any questions you might have, or I can further explain anything that you've seen, but I don't want to go over the same thing that you've heard at the last month's EDC meeting, but I'm open for questions.
When you look at the hotel sales tax, do you think that is the sports complex staying as full as it normally is, or do you think any surrounding competition is having an effect on that, or?
According to the numbers that I have seen, the sports complex year to date is down significantly.
The events
in
hosted
in
there?
events. Yeah, so when we look at the placer data that shows, and I've got a different report, but I can be glad to bring it for next month. We see that the fairgrounds stays pretty consistent. One month it'll be up a little bit versus last year. The next month it might be down a little bit depending upon their attendance. The sports complex is down significantly this year compared to last year.
So the reason?
Well, it has to do with the people bringing the tournaments in. So I know one organization in particular that actually leases the fields, the lion's share of the year. They use us as the backup. So we're so cheap in how we sell our fields that they rent the entire complex. The host of the actual tournament in another city will catch overflow if they need it. So that's one of the issues we're battling.
So how do we
And
fix that?
And
Run
well,
the
that's an
tournaments
example,
ourselves.
and that's also an example of what Kia explained last month of why some of those hosts, the cities have negotiated with them. If you don't stay in a hotel, you have to pay an upcharge. And that's how they're recouping to ensure that the city gets the finances from that. Because if they booked your field and they don't have a tournament, city gets nothing. There's no hotel, motel, no food, no restaurants, no retail. It's zero. So basically, they're locking us out.
Fields, that's it, yeah.
So we're either way too cheap or we should not allow that to occur. They should be guaranteeing an X amount of funds coming into the city.
Be hosting a program there that's bringing all the people in.
Yes.
I know that Jim and I, we have this conversation every week for the reason of that's why I've been pushing since day one that the city needs to run the tournaments. We need to do that in-house. So we can collect the gate. We can ensure that the ball fields are full every weekend. We control that atmosphere down there. But it's finding the right person, right? You can't just somebody walk off the street and have all the connections and bring in the teams, all that stuff. So I know that they have hired a young man. Strong ties to USAO baseball program for the sports complex. I think it's recent, so I'm not sure where they're at now. So hopefully by next year's season, we're spun up and we have a little more control over that. But not only that, that means if the city itself is doing the tournaments, collecting the gate and everything else, where does that revenue stay? It stays at the ball fields. Because we're in severe need of those sports complexes getting updated and competing with all the fresh new ones that are being built around our trade area.
Karen, I'm curious if anybody knows what it would take to market that product, as it were, in terms of cost. What we can we look at that and say, okay, if we take control of that, what's it going to cost us to promote that in terms of advertising and promotion and all that goes along with that? I don't have any idea what that overhead would be.
No, but and I think Jim has been working on that, but it really comes down when you're talking about that kind of stuff. It comes down to who your director is and the connections they have. Because if they're plugged in that pipeline, you don't really need to advertise because they already know who to call and where to
Like
go.
Andy Weir, he's just super plugged.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not really marketing to us. You're marketing to the specific and probably already have those connections with them.
Makes sense.
Yeah, if you look at the trend, Kia, I had that same question. We're just about 4,000 above 2020, 2021 in the month of July.
I also think that
We should be way above that.
there's a small problem of maybe hotels not reporting accurate numbers.
Could be a
as well.
delay too. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, how does that happen, not accurate numbers?
Me, unofficial, no proof whatsoever, cash is king. That's just my synopsis of ways around that.
I do want to also say though that we are in the process of doing an audit on them, just to make sure that we are catching everyone. So.
But the second thought would be with the rise in Airbnbs and the RVOs and all that, I mean, that would have an impact on the numbers we're seeing there, or do we ever figure out, do they report tax to the city and to the, are we receiving any income from those? Because they're
Really, I thought
jumping up
Airbnbs
all
was
over.
subject to the hotel market.
The one that I did in Kentucky, I looked back, the one I did and it was, I mean, it said on there how much was my tax was to the city and all that, so I was just curious if there's a tax in Chickasha, because Airbnbs and VRBOs are going up a lot around here.
Yes, and that is something.
Here in Chickasha?
Yeah, and we're not getting any reporting on that, but we need to find out exactly
I
where
got a way
those
to be
are
collecting
and
it,
get
yeah.
them collected.
we don't have Airbnbs currently, but we have had 2 Airbnbs in town, and Airbnb does take hotel motel tax out of our portion of the receipts.
So when a person pays for it, like the person pays for it,
The
and
guest.
then it goes to, it doesn't go to you as the
Goes,
owner.
Airbnb takes that out, and they say they are recording it.
That's what I said, like,
We don't
it's
have any way to know if
coming
it
to the
comes
city,
out,
for
but
example,
it is
we
removed
pay
from
the
our
city.
side of it as an Airbnb owner.
Okay.
I can verify that.
One thing that would be very helpful, if like we get an email on the names of those Airbnbs, would be really helpful.
Well, we don't have any anymore because of the
Oh,
influx.
because of
It's oversaturated, so we've gotten out of that game, but,
But if I,
But what you're suggesting is
Yes.
creating, like, we know who the hotels are in town.
oh yeah,
It'd
that's
be
easy.
helpful if we knew who all the Airbnbs
Yeah,
were.
sure,
Right.
they're not something in
Can
town.
Seems like that would be searchable.
it seems like it's
Is it-
easy, like a Airbnb license or
Yeah.
something. It's a
Just say it's
$15
a
fee
permit.
a year, a
Yeah.
permit, sure, that would be really
Okay.
easy.
Shouldn't have to be expensive,
Right,
it's more
right.
just to make sure we get a registry.
Correct, out the chicken permit that we also have.
If
So,
they're using VRBO, they should be connected with the state. The state should be able to help you with that.
Talk to the sales tax.
So-
If they could direct me.
on the hotel motel tax, so do y'all collect that directly, or does it come from the state of Oklahoma?
We collect it directly.
That's what I thought, that'd be a problem for the BRBOs or whatever they are.
We
Well,
collect it.
what Michael was saying is that that tax Airbnb keeps before they ever give them. So yeah, you'd have to go to Airbnb.
You should be getting,
VRBO.
you should be getting that money
Yeah.
from
Airbnb corporate.
the
Yeah,
Airbnb
yeah.
and the VRBO. And we never have.
They owe us some money.
They do.
Yeah.
Just need
Someone needs to make a phone
log
call.
in.
Or could it be coming in through a different revenue stream that we don't know that's what it was for?
Yes, that's the next thing.
Do some research on that.
But there's a lot, I'd be curious to see
I
the
would like to
rise
know,
in
yeah.
those rental homes in Chickasha, because there's a lot more than what there used to be.
All right, we got down that rabbit hole. Any more on the presentation? Anything
Zach?
good? Yeah.
I was just gonna bring it back to the question you had on the FOL chamber contract 3.1. 3.1 designates that is what the FOL will pay the chamber. The city is only obligated $30,000, but the FOL is obligating $33,000. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yes, so that does stand as presented.
Thank you.
Correct.
Jim, a question on the downtown streetscape plan. I know you're probably actively working on that. At this point, does that include trees or green space of any kind?
It will.
Okay.
So here's where we are on that. The goal is that we're gonna know something about the downtown park, whether it received a grant or not. We'll definitely know by November, okay? The goal will be to take the pedestrian bridge, the downtown park, a streetscape plan, which would create 2 different districts, the Old Town District from 1st through 4th, and then an Arts District from 4th going west until 7th. And it would be where you feel like there is a complete, you're in a destination area, you're not just in a downtown. It would also address streetscape improvements on Choctaw Avenue, because that's Highway 62, that's such an important corridor. We all think about 4th Street, right? And people coming through on 81, but the traffic on 62 or Choctaw is also important. So the streetscape plan overall would encompass all this, where you can have identities, but there would all be connectivity, both from the appearances, whether it could be the landscaping plan, or it could also be from marketing, branding, all those kind of things. Then, just to make things really interesting, I'm hoping to introduce the idea of a business improvement district after the calendar year, or after January 1 of 2026. Business improvement district would create a defined area where there would be an additional assessment on all the property owners. All of this is connected. And so it's kind of, you can't do one without kind of understanding how it impacts all of it. The idea is, so how do you fund a streetscape plan? Well, one of the things is we can apply for a grant. That grant cycle is getting ready to open back up. And we've talked with Half Associates, who's doing some other work in Chickasha, about helping us, write the grant for that. But then the ongoing maintenance, like taking care of any landscaping, would be done through Business Improvement District funds. So when I say I'm working on it, we've had meetings. We don't have anything to present. Don't have anything to present to the council or anyone about the Business Improvement District. What I'm working on now is all the homework, so that we can, when we can come with ideas and potential funding sources too. The goal is not to come to the city and say, hey, we need money for this. Okay. The goal is to come with a plan, to get input on that plan once it's presented, but then also have funding sources to make sure all this can be implemented.
I'm only asking for just the simplicity of it's so hot and we want people walking around going to businesses. And to my knowledge, there's one tree between like First Street and 7th Street. It's like in front of Liberty Drug. And so whenever I'm down there with my kids and we're going to an event or to a restaurant, from June through October, it's miserable.
It's a great point. And when we address walkability, those things but it's not just a tree, but
I know.
What kind of tree?
Sure.
How big a tree? Just because you don't want it to grow up too big,
Of course.
and you don't want it to attract too many birds.
Right.
We had a big problem with that in Bricktown back in the days where we had all these trees, but it also attracted thousands of birds.
Sure.
So there's so much to be looked at, and you can't do one without it impacting the other. But we are working on that. But again, the goal is to find funding mechanisms for the plan and not ask the city for,
Maybe the language should be changed from trees to just shade. That's what we need. Is
What are that?
It's just no place to hide.
To get people to walk,
Yeah.
it has to be inviting. You have to want to walk. The more difficult you make, it's hot, there's no place to stop, you can't, it works against it. So there's so many small things that can be done to make it feel like an area that you want to walk around in.
Now, here's an idea that I got from Dollywood, where they hung umbrellas over the street.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that
I
interesting?
feel like that would end up kind of like our bows did in Oklahoma. We had umbrellas.
Well, my idea was to hang red lamps all up and down Chickasha Avenue.
Of course it
to cover up for shade, but that was a very interesting.
Yeah.
I thought, now that's neat.
Hang lights from Fremont Street.
So there is other alternatives besides trees that take 30 years to grow.
Sure.
And maintenance and birds. So.
Any more discussion on that item? Roll call, please.
Strictly discussion.
Oh, okay. Moving on to item 5, board member communications. Anybody got anything?
Zach, do we need to mention we did not have an agenda item for EDC to present their budget, which is why we didn't discuss it today, even though we asked them in the contract to do that for us 30 days from the day we signed the contract, which would be this meeting.
Yes, so Kimmy brought to my attention yesterday that for the contract in 30 days after the adoption by the CIA, the EDC was to present their budget and their payment management program, right, I believe, is the other thing. And I talked to Jim, and I think it was just an oversight, and I think we're going to see that, next month, right? So
Yes.
it's no agenda item, it's not actual, but we will get it taken care of next month. Anybody have any questions on that, or?
Other than if they have not presented it, does that cause us from making any payments to the EDC since we have yet to see their budget? That's just a question.
Right, and I'm gonna follow up with the city manager and the city attorney on that question, to make sure we're in compliance.
Okay, thank you.
Very well. Anything else? Thank you all for coming. Item number 6, adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We're